Okay, we are live.
Hello.
Hello. I'm
Hello.
joined today with multidimensional Maggie. And
Thank you, Jennie, spiritualist.
we are live. Hold on, I just have to turn down our sound. Hello. I'm joined today with Okay, so we're on, and I think hopefully this will show up a little less grainy than what I'm seeing. We will hope for the best. If I tell you guys we've had an adventure getting on,
We have
static
Avatar.
electricity trying to connect, but here we are. And thank you, Maggie, for joining me today. How are you doing?
And thank you, Jennie, spiritualist, light walker, part light worker, part Jedi Knight, Skywalker.
Yes.
Bada bing, bada boom, knock them out.
Well, when people say, what's a light walker? I'm like, light walkers are not for the faint of heart. Light walking is not for the faint of heart. However, it's all good. So, just saying, there's a little bit of Jedi Knight action in there because you're not going to put up with crap.
Okay, so actually, I think this is a perfect way to start this show. Let's get this party started, right?
Yeah.
Let's get this party started quickly. So, guys, let's have Jennie. Like, Jennie's bringing more and more of herself into everything. And so, as her loving followers, friends, loved ones, we are her cheering academy or whatever. Ready? Okay. Let's just have her talk to us a little bit more about being a light worker, being a part light worker, Jedi.
Well, you're a light worker.
Oh yes, I am. But I want to hear more about you because actually.
Okay.
So in this case, you're the essential plant, and I am the alcohol. This is the only time that alcohol is going to be good. Okay. And in this process, I am extracting from you the essence so that you may make the whole world smell good.
Oh wow, that's like a pina colada.
This is the pina colada.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, so what are you asking me? What's a light walk?
Well, there's a big part of you that wants to come forward as you.
Yes.
And so sometimes you need that extracting friend.
Yes. Well,
and
because
so right now I'm being the alcohol and you're being the essential plant.
Yes.
Yeah, and I want to hear more because
I'm always the coach. I'm the one that it's really not about. When I do my coaching, it's about the other person. And
that's right.
You know, when I get on shows with people, then I'm the host and it's about the other person. So like what you're doing is saying, so what about me? And I'm happy to share me. Happy to share me.
Yes, please.
So
we want to hear. We love you.
So I love you too. Well, this show's about expanding minds because one of the things that Maggie and I do in our free time is talk about how to expand your consciousness. And we met in Brian Scott's Reality Con 3, which you gotta go check out. Reality Revolution. His channel is the bomb. But he encouraged us to just, you know what, just get out more, shine your light more. And Maggie has her own channel. So I said, oh, I want to also. Now I've had my channel for a while, but like I do episodes, you know, mostly talking about, I don't know, you know, a lot of what I do has to do with mind expansion, or brain expansion. And it's really, I figured it out. You know what it is, Maggie? It is about perception. Because with ADHD coaching, right, I'm helping people because people with ADHD are perceiving things as one way.
Yes.
And then when they work with me, it can help shift how they see things because it's like, oh, a lot of times, for example, maybe you're a very black and white thinker. You think in absolutes, all or nothing, it's this or that. And it's hard to see an alternative, an option, if you're just thinking in black and white. And so a lot of times having an outside party who says, objectively, well, what about if you broke it up into bits? What's that look like? And then sometimes they go, oh, I see. And it just all of a sudden a whole bunch of solutions come to light that they weren't thinking before because of perception. But personally, for me, where I go is perceptions that are dense versus perceptions that are light in frequency, right? If we are in dense frequency, you're in fear,
That
fear,
you're in the
anger,
lower aspect of the map of consciousness.
lower aspects, yes.
And you're just, and also when those people hit that moment with you, one of the songs that comes through is, I can see clearly now, the shit is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Thank you, Jennie Lightworker Skywalker.
Yes, there you go.
Right.
So if you are constantly trying to elevate your emotional frequency,
yes,
you will then literally change what you perceive around you in your world.
Right.
It's like magic, only it's not.
Yeah, but it's actually the laws of the universe, right?
Right.
And like David Hawkins actually does it very, very well in when he everybody describes things well, but it's just coming in right now with a map of consciousness, because he has like the God self, the id self, what you need to transform. But he talks about how when somebody's in the lower, like guilt, shame, apathy,
Yes.
you can't do anything. And it's not till you rise up to courage, which is the level 200, are you actually going to be able to vibrate at a frequency where the universe begins to send the good things to you. But the other thing too is between the lower vibrations, the sticky, murkier stuff, there's some people who get really anxious about anger, because anger is between that shame, guilt, apathy thing.
Anger is better than apathy.
That's my point. That's actually my point. It's like but the thing about it is you don't go and rage out or hurt somebody. You go to the gym and you get your taekwondo, that big doll, and you punch the shit out of it. Or you go and you run up a hill to the endorphins. You have to find healthy ways. But that's the exact point I'm saying. It's like, as you're moving from those energies, you will move through anger, fear, things, but it's actually higher vibrational. And
it is. It actually, anger can pull you into empowerment.
That's right.
Pretty quick. When you're in apathy or just
forget about it,
or grief, if you're just distraught, like those feelings, it's a harder jump. And I tell people, try to get to neutral. If you can just get to neutral, and then we can tap into some willingness to like, okay, I'm kind of here. I'm kind of flat. I'm not down here anymore. I'm definitely not up there, but I'm not down there. I'm kind of here. Then can you just step one foot into, are you willing to try to make it better? And when the minute they say yes, it's like you've already went up even more. Like you said, you're now willing. Now things can change.
That's what I find too. When somebody is like, let's say for somebody says like, I can't love myself, or I can't forgive myself. And let me tell you, I'm one of those. I'm not teasing anybody. We are not teasing anybody or putting anyone down that's in guilt, shame, apathy. We are here to light the fire to get you out of there. But the thing about it is, like, when I do get into that point, that's actual affirmation that helps me move. I am willing to forgive myself. I'm willing to love myself.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm willing to allow, like, I don't understand it, because you don't need to understand it. I'm willing to allow the resolution to XYZ come through. I'm willing.
That's what they say is the key to happiness is acceptance.
Yeah.
Like just
if we are in acceptance, though, we're not fighting. And when we fight, we create the equal energy of exactly what we don't want. Right. And so when we're in there, but it doesn't mean be a doormat.
Right.
It means like, because then when you get into a skillful way of being accepted, like a yogi or like a Jesus or like, a Buddha, where you have this field around you that it just doesn't take shit, but you're in acceptance. And the other thing, I was listening to this gentleman. Oh gosh, I want to say Paul Selig, but it wasn't Paul Selig. But anyway, the key. Oh, it was about miracles. Oscar Wild.
Okay.
I don't know if it's. I'll get the prop. Sorry, guys. I'll get the.
That's okay.
But what he said was really critical. Was that if you begin to really just allow, you begin to understand even the world in all of its awfulness is perfect. It's perfection.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that it's acceptable that people are harmed and hurt, but you begin to understand that all these things are necessary for our transformation and movement. And then it's not about like just say, oh, well, because of that, it's all good. I'm not going to help the poor.
No, you can't deny the pain.
It's not that part of turning your back. It's the part of understanding that even for ourselves, things are happening that are difficult. But ultimately, if we dig in, we're going to get the fruits of what it's there to teach us.
I remember one of the very first, I want to call it thought experiments, right? When you can think, okay, I don't normally think this way, but let me play around with thinking. If I were to think, because I was in a really bad situation, and I was like, and I was in a lot of pain and a lot of frustration, a lot of all those negative feelings. And I was thinking to myself, it dawned on me, you know, this is actually probably part of being human that I'm supposed to appreciate. Because when you're a tree or a rock, you don't get this level, this depth of emotion available to you. So even though it's painful, there's beauty in the fact that you can feel it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a stretch.
It's humbling.
It's humbling. I was able to go, I don't remember even what inspired my thought to go there. But I remember, I vividly remember just kind of sitting in I just had to surrender because there was just no more, I couldn't think of a thing to do. I was crying. And then it just dawned on me that this was like a beautiful, amazing gift to feel that level of pain. Fortunately, we don't sit in, I mean, you don't want to sit in it and stay in it.
Yeah.
But like it's a miracle. It's a miracle we feel that level all from the whole range. The Hawkins scale shows this whole range of emotion. And it's amazing that we have that available to us.
Yeah.
And because if you didn't have this, there'd be the contrast, right? We get to experience this up here. And so when you were talking, I was like, oh, I remember that explicitly. I remember where I was living. I remember what I was sitting, and I remember the situation. It was just awful. So if you can be as a thought experiment and say, let me just try and think of this a different way. I'm not saying it changes anything outside, it changes you inside.
Yeah, which is what changes the outside.
Then the outside starts to change. If you're waiting for this to change, you're going to be waiting. If you're waiting for this to change first, it's the mirror. It's not the truth. I mean, it's truth, but it's not,
This is something I believe as well. So your title, and you embody light worker, Skywalker, Jedi Knight, you are embodying all these things. Every one of these things say that I wanted to say something else, but I'm going to try to cut back on my swearing.
Okay.
But, I have come to change the game. I'm a game changer. And if anybody has known anybody who has played a sport, you don't go from a basic elementary gymnast to an elite gymnast, what you see in the Olympics, overnight. There's a lot of falls, a lot of broken bones, a lot of, and I'm not encouraging this, and I'm not saying one must suffer, but I have to tell you, suffering is one of the greatest teachers. The other thing is, like, when you embody, everybody loves the phoenix, right? You don't hear much about the phoenix when it's getting gray and falling apart right before it bursts into flames. It's like the cool part's when it's the flame part. But in the embers is our superpowers. The same thing with the caterpillar to butterfly. You're this big, frumpy little, caterpillar, and you're twerking on your leaf. You're like, come on, and then let's do this. And then you hang, and then you get in the thing, and between closing in the cocoon and becoming a butterfly, you actually are caterpillar soup. And then as the butterfly, if you assist the butterfly, you don't let it struggle. It will die. It has to struggle to come out. And what I'm saying is that with light workers, Jedi Knights, all this, there's a lot of times a level of wounding or harm or injury or struggle or pain that one goes through, which the superpower comes through, and the wisdom comes through, and the energy flows through, and the channel opens. And I have learned that sometimes it is one of the only ways to grasp that level of Skywalker Jet Knight. Like when you have your school, you can have, oh my gosh, we can dress up, and I love that. We could have different levels of like Jedi Knight, Skywalker. Like
we can have swords and go like this and go.
Oh yeah, I've come to cut your wounds up.
I love that, those movies where the women are like, they got their sword up and they go like this, and they go.
Yeah.
And it's like, bring it on.
Princess Warrior. Oh my gosh, I've had so many people think I'm her. It's weird. Like I've had kids,
I can see that. I can totally see
their bedside, and they're like, "Mom, is that Xena Warrior Princess taking care of me?" One of the moms said, "I'm sorry, I told my daughter."
Maggie Warrior Princess taking care of you.
That's right.
Yeah, that's cool. So anyway, there's that that I find you really I can't seem to talk about enough, and I don't even know why, because it just keeps coming up. Because people do get very stuck in their emotions, and that's energy healing. I mean, that's our emotions, our energy and motion. So it's energy healing, it's energy work. And like I said, if you can think of yourself as doing thought experiments, well, what if I think about it this way? And if you can't think of something, just you can ask yourself, well, what would my sister do? What would Jennie do? What would my teacher do? Like, what would someone else do? How would
what
they
would Jesus do? Yeah.
What would Jesus do?
They got a whole book. Yeah.
When you try to think about someone else's perspective, that's when you can start to shift. Because if you're really stuck just thinking that your way of looking at this is the only way of looking at it, it's really hard to get out of a situation.
Yeah. And if I'm able to recognize like what it is in me, like if it's blame or if it's rejection or whatever, if I'm able to recognize it, then I just get still and I talk right to the flower of life. I kiss the face of God and I just say, hey, this is what I see in me. Like Paul says, word, I am word. But I will just say, hey, this is what I see. I want this to be changed. And then I say what I want. Like, I want to be able to treat my children better, my friends better, or I want to be able to respond to this crisis better. I want to be able to learn how to help more people through being taught, and then show me. And spirit usually comes in like this morning. I literally got a whole, this is just kind of, I walk in this all the time and I constantly being talked to. And I literally got a whole things of what I was doing wrong, or not wrong, but what I could improve on and what I needed to do to shift the poles.
Oh, wow.
So the other thing too is what I want to say too is that in Hermeticism, it talks to you, just quantum field in general, quantum science. It's all mental. And so when you begin to actually, okay, guys, as you can tell, I'm expressive. Yes. So do I know emotions? Oh, yeah. But what I'm trying to say is the more that I work through my processes, and I understand the mindset and the mental part in a deeper level, not just like the superficial. The deeper I go into the layers, the more that I can understand and hold myself in the mental scale, my emotional scale can't move around so labilely. And I'm not criticizing anybody, because right now
No,
the
you do
world
become more
is,
stable.
yeah,
Yes.
the world
You're,
is in turmoil. Like
I think it's
people are,
yeah, it's like your set point. It's almost like your set point rises.
yeah,
And I find that even when something goes wrong, I can't, it's really hard for me to go way down.
yeah,
I can go down, and if I do go way down, it's for a short period of time and I'm right back up. And I also find that I just don't go as far down. Like, because my perspective is different, right? That's what I was saying,
yeah.
your perception.
You're
My,
buoyed.
yeah,
You're buoyed in the spirit.
if you have this feeling like all is well, then even in the moment of all is not well, you know, ultimately all is well. And you just, you know, kind of, that doesn't have the weight and power it used to. And when you start to say, like, you realize your own sovereignty, you don't feel like a victim so much, and you do take responsibility for things, or you're part of things, that is so empowering. It's not, it just rises you
Right.
out of sometimes where I know in the situations when in my, this is speaking for me, but like in my past, when I have felt the most victimized, were
Yeah.
the periods of time when I could not even see my options as being viable. I mean, people would tell me, well, you can do this and this and this. And I was like, yeah, but I can't. So that means what? You know, and I stayed stuck for a very long
Mm-hmm,
time.
mm-hmm.
And when I finally realized that I could do some version of whatever, it was like the universe just broke open and was like, ah, there was freedom and movement again. And so, yeah, you have to
Yeah.
kind of play around with, don't take things so literally. Like, think, well, if people are telling me to do X, maybe I could do kind of a version 2 of X, or
Yeah.
some funky
You do have to
version.
discern, because people will try to run your life from the back
Oh,
seat
all you
drunk.
have to do is this. And I was
I
like, if
got
I
you.
could do that, then I
You'll be
wouldn't be
fine.
in this
You'll be
position.
fine. Toxic positivity. But yeah, after you have somebody drive you from the back seat drunk a few times, you start, and you're the one that has to pay, and you're on the street, and you're homeless. You don't have food. You don't have whatever it is. You learn, okay, I can take in information, but I really have to get centered with God and make these decisions.
And make certain
And the
decisions.
other thing is, horrible, horrible things happen in the world. I am in no state saying that anyone deserves these treatments. But what I have learned through some pretty extreme learning experiences is that you, as soon as you are able to take ownership and responsibility, it doesn't mean that you did it wrong. You were wrong for someone violating your body, your mind, your spirit, for bombing your country, for
Right.
nuking your country, for poisoning your largest aquifer in Hawaii actively and lying about it. I'm saying you can hit these things and you begin to have more power, because you're able to function in your power as you take that responsibility.
Yes. Yes. You're responsible for your response. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, you know, again, I wish they teach this stuff in kindergarten, because it would probably help a lot of people if we were taught this at a young age.
Well, that's why they don't teach it, because
I
then the
know.
world would, like,
Ah,
let's be honest.
I
What's
know. I
what's the
know.
like there? But we all know that the critical mass is tipping. It's getting up there.
Yeah.
Consciousness is rising. The love quotient's rising. The compassion quotient is rising. The awareness of the Mother Earth is rising. The
Yes.
goddess is rising. The, divine man also is, rising. Men who are like masculine but in their feminine, like, so much is happening right now. And that tipping point is, people are saying, we don't want to be
Yeah.
warmongers anymore. We don't want to hurt the earth anymore. We don't want to hurt each other. Now there's plenty of people who are doing the
Not there
opposite,
yet. They're
but
not there
we're
yet.
getting there. And everybody just needs to keep doing their part.
Yes. So I think to answer your original question, it's kind of where I'm at is like, how can I start doing my part in that, in this collective? Having conversations is something that I'm, interested in, good at. I enjoy talking to people. And so that's why, like, when we, connected, I was like, oh, blah, 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 blah. You guys should have really heard me and Maggie talk the first time. How long were we on the phone? Like 2 hours? I was like, so yeah. Yeah. And it's exciting because you're vibing and you're like, yeah, what could we do? We could just like talk and put it out there. And so if you like conversations like this, comment below. I know last week, actually, let me look and see, because we had mentioned, do you have a question to ask this week, Maggie?
Oh yes, I always have questions.
Do you remember?
But I want to just take this commercial break real quick, everyone, to remind you all that Jennie is a light walker, part Jedi Knight, Skywalker. And so are you. You are listening to this podcast. You have it in you too. So if you can receive that, we're going to be running with that in the days and the months and the years to come.
Yes, this is what I'm saying. If you think about mixing together the thing I do in this world as a profession, mixing it with who I am as a person, right? If we could, and we're multidimensional. Like Maggie, you are multidimensional, Maggie, but like we're all multidimensional. Like you can mix your stuff together. People will tell you can't. People say, oh no, Jennie, you can't do that because on YouTube or Facebook or these, and Google, you have to be one specific thing and you have to have one audience. I'm like, no, yeah, you mix it up. You get to be a bunch of things. And so I know the show makes no sense.
Toil and trouble, no.
So I want to read out from last week. By the way,
okay,
what we're going to do, I'm putting out, I said this, I didn't say this. I don't think I ever said it, but I think I wrote it in the show notes last week. We're going to do a drawing I also read tarot cards. So I'm going to do a free tarot reading for the winner. We will announce it next week. Okay. So if you comment below,
come on,
you're in the drawing. You don't have to comment, like if you did it last week, if you commented last week, comment again, but like, did we do that? I want to say you're in, once you're in, or are we saying that the more you're in, the more chances you have? Actually, I guess that would make more sense. So right now, since we don't have billions
the
of
more you comment, the more times you're entered.
Yes, we'll do that. So I want to just shout out because we did have, shout out. Answering the question, right? Was Lisa said that her favorite color depends on her mood, which I get that. I totally get that. And she said dark red and dark forest green are her two favorites. So that's Lisa Liewolf.
Yes, and she is wonderful. She's one of the Reality Revolution heavy hitters.
She's beautiful.
She's an amazing healer.
She just watched. She commented on when I went light walking. I was trying to. I took one of those short things, before where you walk. I was like, this is when I go light walking. There's a path I take. And I was like, and I just shared it.
Okay.
I was like, this is where I live. Like this is what I see when I go light walking, right? And she commented. So, also we had EA said that
yes, EA is another heavy hitter. That girl, both of them want to come on the show. EA, maybe you don't know it yet, but you're coming.
Yes, love it.
Lisa's like down. So, but EA's up too. EA's up, down, left, and right. She's like the cross.
So for the most part, her favorite color is purplish pink, which I love because I love pink. And when you get into blue and all the colors, if you look at spiritualist, I use this color. You know what they call the color? It's the color I painted my downstairs this color. And so I kind of made my logo be this color. The color's called New Age. It's like Benjamin Moore, new age. I was like, and I used it at 0.5%, like 50% new age. So it's not
Yes.
so saturated, it's like lighter. And it's kind
Yes.
of like a purplish, bluish, just the prettiest color on the planet. I get it. I love
Is
it.
it kind of violet?
Well, if you look at, so if you look at the, well, I don't even know how, can I show you this? How do I show you this? I don't think I can show you this. If you look at the colors on the channel header, you'll see it's kind of like a
Okay.
purplish, bluish. So pretty. And that color is literally called New Age. And I'm like, I'm actually trying to, in my own way, in my own mind, change, because I think New Age even is a structure that needs to fall apart. I think that New
Yeah,
Age
it is.
needs a
It'll come.
facelift.
Yeah. And the facelift is in progress.
It is. Anyway,
Okay,
so I thought, so you guys are in the drawing.
Hold on. So we got money bag make $750 per day. She put develop success from failures. Discouragement and failure are two of the surest stepping stones to success.
Oh,
Dale Carnegie.
I'm
We
sorry,
love
you're
her.
absolutely right. Yes.
We have Kathy Orton. Okay, but she didn't. Kathy, darling, you need
You didn't answer
Lily,
the color.
Yeah, but I'll forward this to her. Kathy is another one we want to have on.
Yes.
She would love to come on.
Great.
But Kathy answered the color. And
it's
then
okay. She's still in the drawing. Anyone who commented is in the drawing.
And we just want to hear your color.
This week, I think, the question here is, like, what is your emotional set point?
What is like me?
Everyone who comments, I want to know. Plus, you can answer right now. What is your emotional set point? Where are you mostly
guys,
on the scale?
We're going to take this commercial break again. Take 2. Jennie, spiritualist, light walker, skywalker, Jedi Knight. She's asking you, what is your emotional set point? And so I'm going to answer. For me, it's courage right now. Courage. I'm facing a lot in my life, like we all are.
Yeah.
And I don't have to have all the answers, and I don't have to be perfect, and I can mess up like a champ. But the bottom line is I just need to get up every day and have the courage to take the steps that are hard. And so courage is my step.
I love that. When I think of courage, my mantra when I was really needing courage was, I was like, just show the F up. I don't need to, just show up.
Yeah.
just
like in the army,
it's better than
army
hiding.
So I'm so sorry. Sometimes the delay, I cut you off. Please go back.
Me too. Go ahead.
No, I want to be better at this. In the army and in general, in business, they tell you that you can actually be a total fuck up. But if you show up 98% of the time, even messing up, you will succeed. Now, we know the Peter Principle, elevated to the highest power of place of not doing anything. But the bottom line is that you keep showing up, and we are not the kind of people that don't show up and make change. We're the game changers. So we're not.
I just got tingles. That was beautiful.
The other thing, I'm sorry, I'm in, okay, have you ever seen an EKG, a EEG of the brain, and chocolate, or like you and me trying to get on her. But anyway, my thing is courage, but it spikes up to love, peace, and compassion, and then it comes. And then sometimes it goes into apathy. Like sometimes like when I'm, having a hard time, but then it moves. But I would put the set point at courage. What's your set point?
I'm more and more resonating around love more than ever. It's been work to get here. And I'm talking, I don't want to scare anybody off, because when it happens, listen, you can have these moments all the time. It's just the more and more you have them, the easier it is to get there. And as you work through your stuff, it's really easier to get there. And so for me now, I actually had something that kind of bothered me yesterday, and was like, wow, this is so interesting. Because that's the whole thing. Be mindful. If you can be mindful and notice, you're winning the game, right? That's the whole thing. Notice. And I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna cry. Wow. Okay. Like, that's okay. And it really was hit home for me how long it had been since I had been upset. I was like, I don't think I've been upset in like, I don't even remember the last time I was upset. So that's good. But I'm a big believer in feel the feels. So when you're upset and you want to cry, cry. I mean, don't hold it in. Let it go.
Take it out of your body, put it into the ground, cry.
And I also get into the whole thing, like I said earlier, which is, not only is it okay, but this is a beautiful, amazing thing. I get to have this depth of feeling. It kind of sucks right now, but like, it does, the more you think that, the more it's your truth. So the more you go, yeah, this is okay. And so, my set point, I mean, I'm really into, and I forget the guy's name because I do some Mind Valley stuff, and I was like listening to this guy. He's really big into the other person.
Is it Vishnu?
Vishen, but it wasn't him. It was someone he had on.
He has a lot of great speakers.
Yeah, and this guy was really big into I can't remember his name, but he was really big into the other person is a version, is like the other, is like a different version of you, right? We're the all, we're all the all, right? And so
they're mirroring ourselves.
I'm Jennie, the version of, the all being playing this Jennie, and this person, even if they're really bothering me, that's me.
That's me. Yeah.
Just a different version. And I teach that in my class. Right. I teach that in my class, and people are looking at me like, I'm like,
heck no.
They're like, I don't think so. I'm like,
no, you don't understand. And you're like, oh no, I do understand.
Oh, I get that. I'm like, oh, I really do.
Laughing.
I really get it. I really get it. I don't know why I got so bright there. Sorry, guys. My lighting is not great tonight. But anyway, why is it doing that? All of a sudden I got really shiny.
Have you ever heard the saying, different levels, different devils? So I'm not here about wanting to, anything you give attention to expands. Anything you focus on gets greater power. And I think that's where we go wrong in the church, because we give the devil so much power when really it's both the devil and God particle playing out in us. So we get to choose who reigns. But one thing that I have noticed is in your life, okay, some people kind of just go through life and da 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 da, and like, oh, I got a splinter in my finger, and da 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 da, my car broke down. And then other people go through life and they get beaten up by a group, or they get raped, or they lose all their property, or they're starving on the streets, or they have a drug, whatever it is. What I've learned is like different levels, different devils, right? So here you're going through life, and then and you go through the level, and you come up, and you learn all this wisdom, and you're good. And now here you are again, la 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 la, lollipops, and life is good, Disneyland, and then all of a sudden, and then oh no, what I just learned all this spiritual stuff, and I prayed, and I've been good, but then you level out again, and then you come up again. It's like, la, la, la. Now, I also do not want to scare you people away saying, be fearful of like the shit falling apart. But I'm saying that there's a saying, right? The more you can do, the more you need to do. Or with great power comes great responsibility.
Well, that's the universal law of responsibility. When you know something, then it's on you to share it.
And as energy work, like in the place that we are, we're aware we're here to change the game. We're aware. I've noticed a lot of us has been handed some pretty incredible devils to
Well, yeah,
master.
I think one of the first ones that happened to me, and which is why seeing ADHD was a brand that really sung to my heart, because my dad, growing up, right, he committed suicide. So, when I was
Right.
young, it was devastating. And
Yes.
to go through that was very,
Yeah.
it was traumatic. And turns out, like, only later, much later, did I think about, like, we knew he had what you call at the time manic depression. So, like, now we call that bipolar. So he was bipolar, but he also had ADHD. So when I was learning about ADHD, I was like, oh, everything makes so much sense now. And he did not commit suicide because of ADHD. I'm just saying, it was in hindsight that I learned about him and was able to heal a lot of wounds and and that's how I learned forgiveness. And I have a feeling that we had a contract that this would be how I learn, like, or maybe not. Hey, I could have chosen to go down the path I went down for 10 years of self-loathing and bringing in tons of negative situations into my life because I was so down here. So what was the mirror? It was all down here. And even a happy day, I was still like, it was like shit. So when I tell people that truly you can forgive, I come from a very authentic, having lived through something, experience, that I do now actually can say that I'm grateful for the experience. Now it's taken me 37 years to say that, but like, I can say that,
And that's the part of the healing I'm talking about. You're the phoenix and you're burning and no one wants to touch you and they don't have kitchen mitts. And like nobody realizes you're going to come back beautiful and elegant, or you're that like twerking caterpillar and now you're going to become the most beautiful butterfly. And like nobody can tell you, even though like you're going, like that's a huge, huge loss. That is completely aura and mental, physical, spiritually earth shattering.
Yeah.
You're young. And like it's also, that's the other thing too, is having when we are acting out and we're bringing in these things, it's that compassion too. We have to forgive ourselves and have compassion for
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that was absolutely, it wasn't just about forgiving him. I thought it was. And when I got past that, I was like, oh no, this is forgiving me for wishing it was different. I had to forgive myself for wishing it was different. And when I did, it was, again, like I said, like the clouds, like, it's just, and everything is amazing. And you're like, wow. But when you're in it, you can't see that would be the result. So I'm just here to tell you that you have to have faith that it will just get better if you just keep showing the F up, keep taking that next step. You may not feel, like doing it, but like just anything above apathy is better than nothing. And, right. And that then you're going to be like a different perspective. You're going to see it a different way. And when you see something a different way, you can't unsee it the new way. Right.
That's right.
Which is amazing. There's been things in my life that I never thought I would ever see different. And because I'm a deep thinker, I thought about my, like, oh no, I thought this through and I just believe this is my belief. And I thought I was so wise. And when you come to a new realization, you're like, oh, how could I even think that before?
Like, who was that person?
Who boy, was I,
She was doing the best she could. Like,
and that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
To have the real love for, and this is my newest thing. Oh man, listen, so this is my newest thing, is a thought experiment of me loving Jennie as separate from me. Like, because there's my consciousness is the big, my I am consciousness sees Jennie now as this host who's holding it together like the best. I like love her for,
Yes.
I'm
We
like,
love her.
thank you. Because
Yes.
without her talking like a
Yes.
third person, this third person viewpoint, it's a wild thought experiment. And don't do it if you feel fragile. This is like when you're not feeling fragile. But it is always, there's always another level to go to. There's always another thought that you can reach for to help expand your mind. And it's just amazing. So,
And also remember, we are multidimensional. So
yeah.
that is actually a you in another dimension that's trying to help you. And that's right. Okay, so
Yes.
I want to take this commercial break. I want to take this commercial break to thank all the Jennie, all of you, but this specific Jennie and all the specific yous who held this space for you, including Maggie. Every one of you light workers, every one of you light walkers, every one of you Jedi Knights, every one of you Skywalkers. Just right now, let's just give ourselves some forgiveness, compassion, and love for what this aspect and person of us in this place and dimension did for us. Oh, she and she's are so happy. They're like, oh my God, pick me, you notice. Yay. Yes, we do notice you and we thank you.
Yes.
And I wanted to say this too. I have a saying, and the saying is this: if you do the work will do you.
Ooh.
You just need to keep, like, you don't need to keep, like, everybody wants to know, like, haven't you ever ate something and then the next thing you know, you got to take a shit real fast, you have constipation, you didn't expect it, and it's running, like, I remember there was like some kind of supplement to make people skinny, and it was alibi or whatever it was. It had this
ally.
And that thing, if you read the directions, it said, wear dark pants because you will be shitting on yourself. It didn't say shitting, but it said that fecal contents could be running down your leg. And let me tell you, that is what happened. People took it because they wanted to be skinny, and they didn't read the directions. I'm just saying, people didn't expect this. You're running to the toilet, or you eat something and you're thinking your digestion's fine and it's stopped up and you can't get it out. And I'm just saying, life is like this too. Sometimes you're not going to be prepared for the like how it's going to work out, and you don't. Okay, prepare your wipes and your toilet. I got it. Your energetic toilet. You're going to take a massive shit and you're going to let this stuff go. But what I'm trying to say is you can't always predict how the universe is going to
you can never predict. No.
For you.
You can try.
And that's what Jennie's saying. Jennie is saying, Jennie and I are both saying, do the work and the work will do you. Because if you just stick in there and you persist and you never give up, I promise it will improve. It will upgrade, and you will get that moment of clarity, and your life will shift. And you need to walk in the belief, and then from belief you need to step into knowing, and you need to shake that ass
and live in a wish-fulfilled state.
Yes. And imagine, like, Josiah Brandt always says, imagine, where's that camera? Imagine wisely. Imagine wisely. Because your imagination is your Christ consciousness bringing all to you. So really start. And the thing about it is, part of why we're down here in Earth School too is, if your thoughts materialize like this, like, oh, that guy's hot. Oh, I like that chocolate cake. Oh, those are cute dogs. And then you have 20 dogs. No. You need to learn how to manage the mental thoughts. And we're in Earth School so that we can clear our minds, our hearts, our bodies, our art fields. We can learn. But then when we get to the dimension where your thoughts instantly materialize, there's some training needed. And you're in it.
Yes.
To win it.
Yes. Yes. And I will tell you this too, and then we'll go. I have found that the higher you get your emotional set point up higher and higher, and more consistently. Your thoughts materialize fast. I can almost think something and
Honey.
it happens.
Love.
Mm.
Jennie, Skywalker, light worker, Jedi Knight. Yeah. And then she's there. And then Lisa's there, and Kathy's there, and
I'm so excited to meet everybody. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. I want to say one thing though, because there's so much love for you here, Jennie. But I want to thank you for sharing that with us about your dad, because that's really big. It's a real testimonial to the beautiful woman you are. It's a testimony to your skill set and what you came here to do. And it's also confirmation from the Creator of how loved you are, not only by the Creator, but by your dad and all of us. So I'm just here to tell you, we want to thank you so much for being brave and vulnerable and opening up that field, because there's going to be so many people who are going to hear your story and who are going to be able to come up and out, or who are going to be able to gather extra tools, and they're going to be helping other people. I mean, the plethora and the spectrum and not the ADHD, but the spectrum of healing that you're just lighting on fire in the world. I just want to thank you. I see you and I love you. And we all love you.
Thank you. All right, guys. Well, we will see you soon. Again, comment below.
Don't forget to answer the question.
The winner next week.
Kathy, you better put your color. Everybody, we want to hear your colors. We also want to hear where you're vibrating at.
Where are you vibrating at emotionally? More than not, most of the time, right?
Yeah, don't worry. There's no judgment here, but it might help you to realize, hey, I want to be higher. I want to go higher. Or
we're just going to be partying
higher, bringing others higher.
All right, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day or night, whenever it is. Okay. Bye.
Peace out.